Teal Caliendo. Welcome to the North Haven Memorial Day Annual Parade.
I'm Ken Bennett here for NHTV today, and it's a fantastic day weather-wise, but it's also been a day of meaning already with some early morning ceremonies.
We had the dedication this morning to the new Blue Star Memorial, which is dedicated to veterans past, present, and future. And it's one of 14 that has been established in this state. So it's very special.
And it's a program that's been around for 50 years, but best known for the Blue Star Memorial Highways. Now the emphasis has shifted to having the presence on various town greens.
And there are a number of people who contributed to this. And one of the women who helped organize it explained to me that she was a little uncomfortable going to merchants and asking for money for this particular memorial. When she got to Arnold's Jewelers, she put down the paper, he looked at it, didn't even read it. He saw it was for veterans, and he said, I'm in. And that has been the way the most people have responded in this town.
And 3 other businesses partnered in that venture. Then as far as the usual ceremony, which is always just it's breathtaking, it's very heart-rendering. What we saw today was a little extra poignant because they announced that the American Legion Post, which really puts this parade together, does a beautiful job in so many ways. It has 504 members. It's the 3rd largest in the state. But in the past year, they lost 17 members.
And you're going to see some of that ceremony, and it really, really does touch one when they ring the bell and they say the name of the person who has passed, because these are people that we've talked to year after year, and every year the number does get smaller. But what I really love is the fact that people are still joining the services, and they want to give their all for this country. So let's just keep on having people join the services, but let's have fewer wars.
The parade here in North Haven, which starts at North Haven High School, takes about 15 minutes to get to our venue, which is just to the left if you're looking from the green of Town Hall. It's one of the biggest and best in the state. They have maintained the quality and to a great extent the size over the years, despite times when a lot of units just couldn't get around as much, and many units had fewer people, and it sort of slipped for a while, but in recent years it has really made a tremendous comeback. Now the crowds that we usually have, some of them come out at 5 in the morning to stake out a place. These are a little different, partly because we're broadcasting the parade live, so if you're seeing it on Saturday morning, that's the live version. It's also live on Facebook via NHTV, so some people can just take it easy, but many, many people are out here all along the parade route, and it's a traditional thing. There are a number of families that come every year, usually to the same spot, but because of the sun being so strong, I noticed some people have moved to the other side of the street.
We're also celebrating the 75th anniversary of the North Haven Police Department. I thought that was extremely wonderful, too, because there are so many things here today in North Haven for people to be grateful for. This is one heck of a town.
And after we watch the various ceremonies, we'll have the North Haven High School Band and some speakers. But for now, let the ceremonies begin.
this time, I'd like to call our chaplain from the post, Vanessa Rutledge, to offer benediction. Uncover, please.
Almighty God, we stand and bow today without measure. To pay our respects to the departed comrades. Help us to remember with reverence, valor, and devotion of those we serve. And those who serve will be also sacrificed, so we can enjoy the freedom we have today. Some consecrate our country's soil, some to its boundaries. Others that
Ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mike's over there.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Please be seated. State Senator, District 34, Len Fasano. State Representative, the 87th District, David Yacarino. Garden Club, Daytime Garden Club, Sally Brockett, Daytime Garden Club, Krista Swanson Fiolini, and Polly Brooks, Federated Garden Club of Connecticut, Second Vice President. State Senator Martin Looney. Hi, Marty.
Hi, Charlie. How are you?
Hello, neighbors. We lived on the second floor. Marty's family lived on the first floor.
Back to 42.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to extend the greetings of Post 76 on North Haven to all that came today. It's very nice to see such a turnout. It's a great day. It's something that
Thank you very much.
kind of look forward to each year. At this point, Vanessa and I, as the post chaplain, will put the wreath on the Vietnam War Memorial. It's already here? Okay. You guys are exceptionally good. Tell me. I left the list. Remember I told you. People will ring on the bell for the deceased members. Tom, do you have a copy of that deceased members list? At this point, I'd like to introduce Steve Ronsky to handle the part of our program that deals with the dedication of the Blue Star Veterans Memorial. Steve?
Commander Morrissey and I go back many, many years and as teachers in North Haven. But today we have a special occasion where we're going to be unveiling the Blue Star Memorial. And we have three young ladies here to help with the presentation. They are as follows: Sally Brockett, Krista Swanson, and Polly Brooks. And I would like them to come up right now. Thank you.
The Blue Star is sponsored by the Daytime Gardeners of North Haven and the Arnold's Jewelry Store, the Gould Insurance Group, and the town of North Haven. This unique memorial is different because it recognizes those who have served in the military in the past, as well as those who are currently serving, but also those who will serve in the future. The idea of bringing the Blue Star Memorial Program to North Haven started last fall. I attended a president's meeting of sponsored by the Federated Gardens Club, and they provided a presentation about the Blue Star program, which is organized and directed by the national garden clubs that are served nationwide. I was inspired by this presentation and program about the Blue Star, in part because my father is a World War II Air Force pilot, and his name is on our monument right here in town, and also because it was unique in its focus on the present and the future, not just the past. So I was also at the meeting with Helen Nadeau, who's our secretary of the Daytime Gardeners, and she also is from a military family and was also inspired by the Blue Star program. So we brought the idea back to our club, and the members were enthusiastic about it. As I approached the various people in town, they were not only enthusiastic, they were very helpful and very cooperative with the things that we needed to do. Mike Frieda, representing the town of North Haven, Larry Lazaroff with Arnold's Jewelers, David Gould, the Gould Insurance Group, Commander Morrissey, Steve Ronsky, and Victor Palma. All of them gave us support and guidance that was helpful in accomplishing this goal. Will the sponsors, North Haven is the 14th town in the state to have the Blue Star in their town. There were 13, we're the 14th, and will be 2 more dedicated on Flag Day, so Connecticut will have 2 more. Well, the sponsors, Larry Lazaroff, representing Arnold's Jewelers, David Gould, representing the Gould Insurance, Helen Nadeau, representing the Daytime Gardeners, and Mike Frieda, representing the town of North Haven. We have a certificate of appreciation. The certificates are from the National Garden Club.
Thank you.
Where'd Helen go? She's coming. Yeah. So we want to share our appreciation for their efforts and support of this program. Now we're going to move to do the unveiling. I want you to make a little opening there so that the Blue Star Memorial is accessible. And just direct your attention over to the Blue Star, and will our 4 sponsors walk over to the monument. They're going to participate in unveiling it. chairperson of the Blue Star program, and she will read the actual dedication.
Thank you. The Blue Star Memorial Program started after World War II as the National Garden Club was seeking a way to pay tribute to the veterans who had served, and it expanded over the years to include those who were currently serving and will serve. So it's my honor as Federated Garden Clubs of Connecticut Blue Star Chairman to pay tribute to those who help keep us free. While we go about our daily lives, while we sleep, the men and women of the armed forces fly our skies, sail our seas, guard our shores, and ensure our safety. Remember, they stand at a moment's notice, ready to defend our country. We must not forget them. We must remember with every step of the honor guard, with every drumbeat on the 4th of July, we will remember when we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and at the sound of reveille, and as the last lingering note of taps resounds in the distance, remember through this Memorial Day weekend. It's with great pride that the National Garden Clubs and the Federated Garden Clubs of Connecticut join with the Daytime Gardeners of North Haven to dedicate this Blue Star Memorial marker to honor the men and women who have served, now serve, and will serve in the armed forces of this great nation. Let this marker stand for a symbol of for all to see, reminding us of those who keep us free.
Polly Brooks is our second vice president with the Federated Garden Clubs of Connecticut, and she will add some comments.
I know you have a busy morning, so I'm going to keep my comments quite short and sweet. I really want to thank the sponsors, the 4 sponsors of this. I come from northwestern part of the state, and my town doesn't have one of these. Well, I hope they will. Krista does an extraordinary job. We're very proud of our green in Litchfield, but you should be extraordinarily proud of this one, because you also have a Blue Star marker, thanks to the 4 sponsors and the work of the people in your town who've put it here. So on behalf of Inga, who cannot be here today, our president, and Federated Garden Clubs of Connecticut, which is part of National Garden Clubs, which has sponsored this program for a long time without fail and will continue to do so. Thank you for what you've added to your green. Thank you very much.
We have Director Jeff Hutchins and members of the North Haven Congregational Church Choir who will lead us in God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her, through the night run the lights from above, from the mountains to the prairie.
ceremony. I'm going to turn it back over to Commander Morrison.
That was beautiful. Thank you very much, both for the Blue Star Memorial and what it stands for, and the group that just sang. Something special to make our program special. At this point, I'd like to go back to part of the program that I couldn't do before, because I left the list on the bandstand down there. I'd like to have, is it Charlie Burke with the bell step forward, please? Okay, Nick Mastriani. What we're going to do is we're going to read the names of 17 veterans from our post that died this year. We have 504 on paper. We're the third biggest post by membership in the state of Connecticut, and we're proud of it. Okay, the first member who passed, Robert Barger. Joseph Chihaki, Stan Conway, William Cunningham, Anthony Dudetti, Richard Donahue, Louis Jerby, D.R. Guillermo, Sterling Johnson, John Kuhn, Howard Loopy. Howard was also one of our selectmen that passed, and a very good friend. He was also one of the first of our posts that was inducted into the Connecticut Veterans Hall of Fame. William Marshall, Bruce Morris, Daniel Nugent, Richard Perrette. Dick was one of our first selectmen a number of years ago, and also a member of our post. Donald Warner and Joe Zamolowski. We had originally planned, if it were possible, to have the dedication of the post-Vietnam Memorial today. The suppliers of the plaque couldn't get it done in time, and there was a problem getting the stone in place, so that's going to be put off for a later time. I would ask you to watch the local papers. We will publicize it, and if we can get it through, even announce it on WTNH so that you'll all be aware of it and have the opportunity to take part in that program, which will be very special. At this time, I would call to the rostrum First Selectman Michael Frieda for remarks.
On behalf of Senator Len Fasano, Senator Martin Looney, State Representative Dave Yaccarino, and our Board of Selectmen members Bill Piper and Sally Boemi, thank you for joining us today. This is a ceremonious day with the Blue Star Memorial being unveiled. But let's never forget the solemn aspect of today. And all of us, all of these fine individuals here who served the town of North Haven so faithfully, have a true amount of respect for the veterans who've served our country and those who have given their lives to allow us to live in the life, liberty, and freedoms that we have today. All of us here are truly appreciative of everything the veterans do and have done. And each and every one of you, veterans who are here, The remarkable and wonderful veterans across the street as part of Post 76 continue today to be wonderful ambassadors for the town of North Haven. And as we move forward and look forward, we will never, ever forget about glancing back into the past and glancing back and remembering the contributions that each and every one of you have made to our country. Thank you very, very much.
At this time, I'd like to ask State Senator Len Fasano, did you have any remarks you wish to make?
Like they for all of us.
Okay. At this time, I'll give the final benediction for our day, the early program. And I want to offer a prayer of thanks to our group here and all the hard work, all the effort that you've put in for this parade and for this year. It sounds easy to say, but it's not so easy when you have to get up and go someplace and when you have to do things. But doing is what makes us strong. Doing is what makes us exceptional. Because to say you're a member of the Post is one thing, to participate in the Post activities and to do the work that needs to be done is quite another. So again, thank you to all of you for coming, and we hope we see you at the parade later on. It'll begin around 10:30. I have one remark to make that I'd be remiss. As far as the post-Vietnam memorial, I have a good friend who spent hours and hours and hours and hours assembling the candidates to be judged as to whether they should appear, their name should appear on the post-Vietnam memorial. I'd like to just introduce Colonel Ray Fowler, retired United States Marine Corps. He's right here. This is a man who has truly worked very long and very hard for our veterans here in town. It's unfortunate that the stone and the plaques were not ready, but as I said, watch the paper. Or you hear a big yahoo, that's probably Ray saying, hey, it's going up, we got the clearance. Okay, at this time, I'm going to ask George Thompson, our piper from Post 76. George, if you do the Amazing Grace, and then a tune to lead us off the field, please. Thank you, George. We're going to have recover the colors and then we'll march off. Okay, recover the colors.
Oh, we got this. Up. Right hand salute.
Okay, you can fly. Hey, see you, Steve. How you been? Good. How about you? Good. Kevin's getting married next year. Yes.
Oh, I apologize. Yes. Where are they? Yep.
Did somebody remove that black bag? It looks suspicious. No, but actually it's in the shot.
If you see something, say
Yeah, I'm saying it. Just that's the show.
Well, you gotta get in there. There you
Need
go.
a wide lens.
Okay, everybody? Thank you.
Wait, wait.
Excellent.
One of the best Memorial Day weekend parades in the state is just a short distance away from us. Right now there's a police car clearing the street from anybody that might be walking across. And it's quite, the crowd has built. A lot of people are staying on the other side of the street because the sun is really intense.
I don't know how people are sitting in the sun. I hope they're staying hydrated because it is warm. What a contrast to 5 years ago. Do you remember that?
We've had cold, we've had rain.
Freezing. Yes, this is fabulous.
And the parade has a marching unit starting us off, followed by a whole bunch of really interesting people. Stay with us.
And what a great day here we have weather-wise for the 2018 North Haven Memorial Day Parade. The weather is phenomenal today. Beautiful forecast all weekend. I need to go up a little bit. We do welcome you, though, to the 2018 North Haven Memorial Day Parade. The Silver Dolphins, the first group of participants to come through today. We have some 65, nearly 65 participating groups in today's parade. Of course, if you just tuned in earlier, we were running the dedication of the unveiling of the Blue Star Memorial. The Daytime Gardeners of North Haven, very active garden club, and the American Legion work together to present that memorial that honors past, present, and future members of U.S. Armed Forces. There are 13 municipalities in Connecticut with a Blue Star Memorial, and North Haven today is the 14th community to add a Blue Star Memorial. Sally Brockett, of course, made statements today. She's president of the Daytime Gardeners, and her father was a World War II pilot. And of course, Memorial Day, we must remind everyone that while the weekend is usually certainly loaded with chances to see friends and relatives and have backyard barbecues, the reason for the Memorial Day, of course, is to honor those who gave their lives in service of our country. Some great classic cars, as always. By the way, I should mention this year's Grand Marshal of the parade is Thomas Smith. He is the Senior Vice Commander from the Murray Reynolds Post 76 American Legion. And we see Tom Smith, of course, in the car. And of course, we see all different eras of cars in the parade every year. Seems that every year we have some new ones, some different ones than years before. Some classics from the 50s and 60s, and even today with the Audi that we see here, the WQUN AM 1220 vehicle. That is Thomas Smith. He is the parade chairman. He's also the Senior Vice Commander, as I said, of the Post 76 American Legion. So many different marching bands this year that we're going to be seeing, including the Gaelic Pipe Band. They'll be involved today, as well as the Stony Creek Fife and Drum. The Marquis of Granby, and just a whole host of participants today. The Foot Guard Band will be here. Let's listen to some of the sounds of the Memorial Day Parade. Honoring veterans. We see various members of the party, including Mark Parisi and James Grillo and others. We'll be seeing the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier recreation, something that the RTC was the driving force behind and creating that. Jay Richardson and others involved. Former Chief Jim DiCarlo, and many others putting in hard hours to come up with that, which we're seeing approach the reviewing area here. The yellow shirt, there's Jim DiCarlo. The RTC spent considerable time last year creating this recreation of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And of course, every year they have little cosmetic work and different things they need to do to keep that recreation of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in tip-top shape. And we're seeing that on the screen coming by shortly. There you see a beautiful aerial shot of that recreation. Of course, obviously smaller than the original monument that is at the Arlington Cemetery. But nonetheless, you can see the hours of dedication put into creating this recreation of that monument. All built by local folks here with donations from local businesses. Honoring the many that have given their lives for our country. Such a great job on recreating the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Coming down the street now, red uniform, bearskin Jacobs.
As we heard earlier, the American Legion in North Haven has some 500 members, one of the largest memberships of American Legions in the state. But just during the last year, we lost 17 of the members of the Legion. Next is the Governor's Foot Guard. One of the members we lost this year, among the many, just recently was Richard Perrette, former first selectman here in North Haven from 1969 through 1971. He passed away recently. One of the 17 members that passed away this year from the American Legion. The Governor's Foot Guard coming through. They are here every year to participate in this parade. Again, I always say this every year, one of the advantages of having North Haven's parade on Saturday, Memorial Day weekend, is the amount of participation. For example, the Connecticut Hurricanes, which is a very famous group here in Connecticut, is in such demand that had our parade been on Monday, we probably would not be seeing them here. They'd be in New Haven or Hartford. But because our parade is on Saturday, we benefit from that by having the Hurricanes and all of the other groups here. Governor's Foot Guard marching by. And of course, appropriately enough, coming up is a town of North Haven street sweeper, appropriately placed here today. North Haven Police Department this year is celebrating their 75th anniversary, 75 years of serving the North Haven community. So many folks over the years that put so much dedication into the police service here in North Haven, many of which are no longer with us. Walter and Lino Berneri and Don Olson, so many others over the years. But we do celebrate 75 years of service of the North Haven Police Department. Of course, the North Haven Police Department and Fire Department have had a busy time over the past few months, if you've been following the news. Our police force, of course, has members that are involved in the regional SWAT team. And, of course, they were involved in that horrific explosion earlier last month here on Quinnipiac Avenue in North Haven. Yesterday, a fundraiser was held at Stony Creek Brewery on Thursday at Stony Creek Brewery in Brantford. Terrific turnout and show of support for the regional SWAT team. Included members from not only North Haven, but from Brantford and East Haven and other communities here in South Central Connecticut. Behind the police cruiser, we're seeing members of the North Haven Board of Police Commissioners. Certainly the first person we see that's recognizable on the left is Larry Lazaroff, member of the Police Commission, and of course, very strong member of the North Haven business community. Father started Arnold's Jewelers, Arnold Lazaroff. Larry continues that tradition. There are other members of the Board of Police Commissioners, including Alden Mead in the center, longtime North Haven resident.
And next we have North Haven.
And we see the police force itself. Again, 75 years of serving North Haven. Police Chief Tom McLaughlin, Deputy Police Chief Jonathan Mulhern, along with the police dogs out here today in full force. There is Chief McLaughlin and Deputy Chief John Mulhern. There is the police dog is here as well today, as we said. The banner, it says it all, 75 years from 1943 to today serving North Haven. There's Mark Genovese, retired policeman here in North Haven. And we can hear the 2 North Haven police dogs making their presence felt here today, passing the reviewing stand. Some police vehicles coming through. This is a Camaro that says State Trooper. That's a North Haven resident and popular drone pilot, Angelo Appy. That's one of his collectible cars, and we see the Camaro every year. Another guy who has some classic police cars in North Haven is Officer Ted Stockman. And we're seeing some of those cars coming up here. Gotta love the classic police cars, some of which are reminiscent of the North Haven vehicles that the police department used over the years. The second vehicle there, I'm sure you'll see it in just a second, is a replica of Adam 12. The Plymouth, there we go, the Plymouth. That is the Adam 12 vehicle, if you watched Adam 12 over the years. Also, Trumbull Police is represented. There's the Adam 12 vehicle for so many episodes of the popular TV series starring Ken McCord. And pretty much exact replica. Gotta love it. And one of the Crown Vics, probably the most popular police cruiser in the U.S. for many years. The Crown Victoria's no longer made. Police department seem to be going the route of the SUVs. There also, we just missed it, but a Plymouth Grand Fury, which is a replica of a North Haven police car, right there, you can see, coming onto the screen. North Haven police cars looked exactly like that in the 80s, and that is one of Ted Stockman's vehicles. So if you think back and say that car was familiar, that was exactly what North Haven's police vehicles look like. There's a beautiful Oldsmobile 442, a Cutlass, beautiful convertible car.
And in the red car, we have
Perfect condition.
Rich Astorino.
Followed by a Ford Mustang. North Haven Fire Department coming up soon. Of course, North Haven Fire Department equally busy as is was the police department. They're always busy, but certainly busy over the last few months. Engine 1, not just a few years old, and ladder 1. Now, this second truck here, the lime yellow ladder truck, about to be replaced by a new Tower 1 built by Sutphin Fire Engines in Ohio, and that is on its way back to North Haven as we speak. So I imagine you will see the new Sutphin Tower 1 red and white tower truck here in North Haven over the next week or so, and should be put into service pretty soon. North Haven years ago, of course, had all white fire trucks. They switched to the lime yellow for many years, and now they're evolving into the red and white. So this is probably one of the last times you're going to see this ladder truck. I would assume this will be retired once the new Tower 1 comes in. Some volunteer firefighters vehicles coming in from Northeast, Montauk, and West Ridge fire departments. North Haven, of course, has paid personnel at the fire headquarters at 11 Broadway, and then the volunteers as well. A great support, again, from Montauk, West Ridge, and Northeast fire departments. These are members of the North Haven Fire Department coming through. Fire Chief Paul Janiszewski, Deputy Fire Chief Dave DJ Marcarelli, and other officials here of the North Haven Fire Department. North Haven Fire Department, of course, over the last 10 years has really gone through some growing changes. Brand new, renovated fire headquarters on Broadway, and expanded and renovated. And of course, the 3 volunteer firehouses were rebuilt/renovated as well. So certainly investment has been put into the fire department. And the police department, of course, celebrating 75 years. There's Police Commissioner Pete Criscolo. The police department celebrating 75 years, and one of the big things, of course, is the renovations going on at North Haven Police Headquarters that will dramatically expand the building. There are members of the fire department, by the way, launching past the screen.
What a fine-looking group.
And it looks like Uncle Sam is making his way down Church Street here in front of the reviewing stand. This is the Stony Creek Fife and Drum Corps. Stony Creek Fife and Drum Corps has a long history, as did the Landcraft from North Haven. Stony Creek is here every year. We will sit back and take a listen to the Stony Creek Fife and Drum Corps.
It looks a little bit like Uncle Sam.
Stony Creek Fife and Drum Corps from 1886. Next, AMR serves North Haven, of course, has done so for many, many years. American Medical Response. Great to have them participating in the parade today, and that very patriotic ambulance unit. Very patriotic. And we remind you, of course, that if you see a veteran, especially this weekend on Memorial Day, make sure to thank them for their service. We just saw a brief look at one of the classic North Haven volunteer firefighters' fire engines that have been restored. I believe that was a New York City fire engine that Northeast Fire Department and its members have restored, but originally from, I believe, from New York City. Next, we will be seeing the Marquis of Granby Fife and Drum Corps in all white as they start to approach the reviewing stand, which is right opposite Town Hall here in North Haven. Various dignitaries up there, elected officials, veterans, parade chairman, commander as well of the American Legion, Charlie Morrissey. This is his last parade as in the position of a commander of the American Legion. After many, many years, he is stepping down, and a new commander will be filling that role soon. Let's give a listen now to the Marquis of Granby Fife and Drum. North Haven Youth Football. And gotta love the Army truck. How apropos. Shoreline 2019 6th grade champion, state finalist. North Haven, of course, has always had a strong youth athletic emphasis in leagues. Football, baseball, soccer, lacrosse, you name it. Hockey, basketball. Of course, NHTV is proud every fall to cover the home games for North Haven High School varsity football. More of the members here of North Haven Youth Football. Quite a contingent today here at the parade. Another great military vehicle.
Here we have
Weather today providing a terrific turnout. Nice breeze.
And behind it, a 35mm howitzer. And now we have a Jeep.
There's the Humvee vehicle made so popular in Desert Storm.
The North Haven Educational Association. They look like teachers to me.
Next is the North Haven Teachers Association. North Haven Educational Association, of course, that entity does a lot to raise funds to help support school activities that the town budget perhaps doesn't cover. And of course, one of their big events every year is the Adult Spelling Bee, which raises funds for the efforts of the Education Association. Next is the North Haven High School Band. Let's sit back and listen to the talents of North Haven youth here with the North Haven High School Band. Athletic involvement, Maxinaway Baseball. Very, very strong group here in North Haven for so many years, so many youth involved in that. Such a great activity for North Haven youth. They always have their big opening day at the field behind Monway's Volunteer Fire Headquarters. We've covered that in the past on NHTV. And so many teams we're about to see come by the reviewing stand, sponsored by some great North Haven businesses. Really helps the Maxinaway League flourish, and really a great experience for the youth here in North Haven. We can see the just a large amount of participants and their parents and coaches here today. NHTV has been covering parades here in North Haven since way back in 1986 with the town's bicentennial parade in 1986, and then of course Memorial Day parades after that. So for 32 years, NHTV has been covering various parades here in North Haven. North Haven Girls Soccer Club as well. Again, we have nearly 65 participants today. We are about not quite halfway through, or about number 27, so much more to go in the parade today. We'll be having interviews coming up throughout the parade from NHTV's Ken Bennett and Teal Caliendo. Ken Bennett, of course, a longtime television broadcaster on Channel 8 in New Haven, also was a weatherman for a while on Action News. And Teal Caliendo, for many, many years, worked at WFSB Channel 3 in Hartford, as well as in radio prior to that over the years. So it's great to have broadcast vets like Ken Bennett and Teal Caliendo here joining us today, and we'll be getting some interviews from them coming up throughout the parade here today. North Haven world champion Taekwondo. Speaking of another critical component of youth growing up in North Haven, karate, Taekwondo. Here's the North Haven Middle School Band. We'll take a listen to the talents of the North Haven Middle School Band as we're about halfway through this year's North Haven Memorial Day Parade. We'll take a seat here and relax and listen to the sounds from the band at the middle school. We're looking at world champion Taekwondo know, but you're hearing the music right behind them of the North Haven Middle School Band. Karate, Taekwondo, very popular. Really peaked in the 80s with the Karate Kid movie, and now, of course, Karate Kid back on YouTube. Very popular. Over 20 million people have already viewed that series, so karate continues to be popular among American youth. Here is the North Haven Middle School Band. Let's listen.
Here we have North Haven's own middle school
There's Principal Phil Piazza, by the way. Daisy Scouts, Brownies, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts, and Boy Scouts all together here coming up. Ridge Road Brownie Troop coming through, troop number 60383.
Here comes some scouts. Boy Scouts.
Cub Scouts coming through, part of the scouting contingency here today. And next, the Boy Scouts with their own float. About halfway through the parade, still some terrific marching bands coming up. We've yet to see the Pyramid Shriners Clown Unit and the Milford Shriners Little Wheels. They'll be part of the parade today, as will the Shriners Motor Patrol and the Pyramid Shriners Pipes and Drums. So a lot more still coming up today here on the North Haven Memorial Day Parade.
His older daughter,
We're going to quickly go over to NHTV's Ken Bennett on the North Haven Green with a special interview.
We're with Sally Brockett, who is one of the people leading the effort to have the Blue Star Memorial put together, and it's just magnificent. But tell us how it started and what it is.
Well, the Blue Star Memorial is a memorial to veterans from the past, the current people serving in the military services, but also recognizes those who will be serving in the future. And that's one of the unique aspects of the Blue Star program.
What's the significance of the Blue Star?
Well, it's the recognition or the icon that is associated with groups, military service people. There's a different program that is the Gold Star, and that's for individuals or families. But the Blue Star is more general.
Tell us about the plants.
The plants, of course, we used red, white, and blue. And the red and white are vinca, and we chose those because they're hardy, plants. They'll tolerate some drought. They'll, survive through some tough weather. They are seasonal, though. They won't go through the winter. And so those are the red and white, and we put those in stripes. And then we did in the center some blue, that's Angelonia, and that will also bloom through the summer until frost. And that's a taller spire-type blossom.
The plaque appears on both sides. So from one side you look and the town hall's in the background, and from the other side you can see the war memorials.
Right. Right. Yeah, this location is ideal. We looked at several different places. Victor Palma with the Public Works Department helped in telling us about the green and suggested different locations, and this was the one that we ultimately chose. It has irrigation, which is a huge help for the flowers during the summer, and it has curbing around it, so it keeps the grass from trying to grow in. We won't have to edge the grass. And it has sidewalks all around it, so people can view it from both sides. And it's part of the memorial area of the town green.
Sally, I think everybody here thanks you and your colleagues for what you've done. This is citizen involvement. It's another form of service, commemorating a very, very important facet of American life.
Well, thank you. We enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken Bennett. Great interview with Sally Brockett, president of the Daytime Gardeners. Of course, the Gardeners, along with the American Legion Post 76, were the driving forces behind getting that now 14th Blue Star Memorial in Connecticut here on the North Haven Green. And as we mentioned before, Sally's father was a pilot in World War II. We're a little past halfway here. Still many more participants to go in the parade, and including the Connecticut Hurricanes, which are a little ways away, and it should be great to see them. They always put on such a great show. Again, the weather so beautiful today. Couldn't ask for better weather for a parade. Nice breeze. Here are the North Haven Sons and Daughters of Italy. Very active association here in North Haven. In the past, they put on the Italian Festival of Angels for a number of years in North Haven.
This is one of the days of the year when...
The Sons and Daughters of Italy is a national organization. This is Lodge 2805, but of course there are numerous lodges throughout the country and throughout Connecticut as well, of course. Coming up, we're going to go to an interview in just a bit with Till Caliendo here at the North Haven Parade. But first, before we do that, we are going to hear from another great fife and drum band out of Milford, Connecticut. Certainly as a kid, I can remember loving watching the Shriners come in with their motor patrol. Now and then you see one of these break down, but sometimes I've even seen a patrol tow truck. But the Shriners, of course, always involved every year here. And it's got to be fun driving one of those vehicles, no doubt. Probably a tight fit for some of these guys, but nonetheless, got to be fun. We're going to go to an interview with Teal Caliendo, who's standing by with Fran Bartlett here at the Memorial Day Parade. Teal?
Hi, I'm here with Fran Bartlett, well known in the town of North Haven. Fran, you are recognized all over town for your fabulous outfits. It's just wonderful. You say America. How long have you been doing this?
Oh, quite a few years. Everybody always asks me, are you going to be in your red, white, and blue?
What made you start?
I don't know. I just like red, white, and blue. I love the country. I love all the colors. I have a lot. I used to camp, and my whole camp was red, white, and blue.
So you must look forward to every patriotic holiday.
I do very much.
Now, I don't know if you can notice it, but I am sort of trying to mirror you today. I did red, white, and blue too, but I cannot keep up with you. We have a mutual friend who does this in New Haven. Are there a bunch of women who do this? Because
A lot. There's not a lot of us, but a few of us that do it.
well, you know, what I like to say to people of a certain age, because we're both not kids, you got to keep going to keep going. Is this one of the ways you do that?
I do. I love life, and I try to keep going, and I figure this makes me feel good. It makes a lot of people feel good when they see that you do it.
People look at you and smile.
Right? Yeah. And they ask me, too. They already, for the holidays, they're already asking me, what am I going to wear?
Do you have a lot of outfits, or is
I
this?
do, for almost all the holidays.
And they're all different.
Right.
And I really admire. I'm an earrings girl, and I admire your earrings.
Yeah. I have many of them. They're red, white, and blue. It's hard to choose which one I want to wear.
I've got to tell you, Fran, you're a really bright spot on this very bright day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a bit, we're going to go to Ken Bennett, who's standing by with another interview here on the green. Ken?
All right, this is one of the days of the year when a lot of behind-the-scenes people come out, literally and figuratively. This is Janet Betta, who serves on the board of NHTV.
Correct.
And for a local bank.
The Healthcare Financial Federal Credit Union.
Okay, got to get that right. And Janet and her colleagues are part of the reason that this parade is able to be broadcast live on the Saturday morning that it takes place, and we're able to show the ceremonies, and it's also live on Facebook. And I mention that because my mother is watching from South Florida and getting a big thrill out of this. So we don't know. This thing could be going worldwide.
That's right. And we deserve it.
Well, what is it? You've been a citizen volunteer for so many years. You could give us an idea of how many, but why are you so involved?
Well, I believe in NHTV. I believe in providing the community with information about the town. I'm very proud of North Haven. I think we do a lot of good things for our fellow citizens. And it's a nice, comfortable place to be. You get to enjoy, different types of people from different walks of life.
And you have, when we say roots here, you really have roots here.
Yes, I do. My parents were born in this town, my father in 1913 and my mother in 1917.
And you live near the green, and if you wanted to, you could actually keep an eye on Town Hall.
Absolutely. All I have to do is look out my front window, and it's a straight shot right to Town Hall.
As you've come here for year after year after year, what have you noticed about the nature of the crowds and the emotions that they seem to be feeling, especially with the flag waving?
They seem to be very energetic. They're very proud. I think they enjoy the parade as well as the meaning behind it. And I think that it's a nice time for everybody to get out and to appreciate the weather as well as the day itself and the meeting.
The American Legion Post has 504 members, third largest in Connecticut, but they lost 17 members in the past year. You've seen the number of World War II and Korea veterans diminish quite a bit.
That's correct. There's also, some of our folks who have been here less amount of time also, unfortunately, but that's the way the cycle of life is.
And it's also why when we call it Memorial Day, it really is a memorial. Everything we do here is a memorial.
That's correct.
Thank you so much, Janet.
You're very welcome. Enjoy the parade, everyone.
With his guest, Janet Betta, we saw the Pyramid, Shriners Pipes and Drum, Wendy's School of Dance as well. And we are about to see really something that's a throwback to the early days of North Haven. Of course, North Haven was a big agricultural community. Most of, if almost all of the farms are now gone. There's still a little bit of farming going on here and there, but nonetheless, the origins of the history of North Haven go back to farming. Popular book that was published back in the late 1980s called Amidst Cultivated and Pleasant Fields by Lucy Brusick, and that talks all about the early days of North Haven and how integral agriculture was. A lot of great tractors here, various different types. G&H, of course, has been a longtime John Deere dealer here in North Haven. Say that 3 times fast. And they're involved, of course, in the community and showing off some of their wares here today. The classic John Deere. That really world-renowned green and yellow John Deere iconic color scheme. G&H, of course, in North Haven, headed up by Gerard Adinolfi. Still have a whole host of participants coming up. The Connecticut Hurricanes are coming up shortly. Very popular. I'm sure they'll be in a major parade on Monday, whether it be Hartford or New Haven. In just a second, we're going to go out to the parade route with NHTV's Ken Bennett and Teal Caliendo to see what's happening out there, as we are live on both Comcast as well as worldwide on Facebook on NHTV's Facebook page. So in just a bit, we will head to Ken and Teal and see how things are faring on the parade route. Our cameras, of course, located right opposite the reviewing stand here on Church Street, opposite Town Hall. The Connecticut Hurricanes, again, that well-renowned, very popular, really famous fife and drum corps. If you remember, many years ago, they used to have the gentleman with the giant cymbals, who was really a signature component of the Connecticut Hurricanes. These folks will put on quite a show in front of the reviewing stand in just a bit, and we look forward to seeing that. Again, due to the fact that we have our parade on Saturday, we are able to have the Hurricanes involved. The traditional Connecticut Hurricane colors. And they will be stopping here in just a bit and performing. Do such a great job. Very large contingent too, Connecticut Hurricanes. You can hear the band coming up. You are about to see some top-notch musicians, folks. Let's sit back and listen to the Connecticut Hurricanes.
was one heck of a parade.
Well, it's not over. That's the first hour. There's more to come. But I think the biggest unit, the one that I wait for every year in particular, is the Hurricanes. They are in national competitions, and one of the things about North Haven being on a Saturday is that we are able to get units that are in very great demand all over the state, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, week before, even week after. But when they go by, I noticed some of the veterans who were watching were just so enthralled. Yeah, that's a good word.
Well, I've got to tell you, I noticed the age range, and that's fantastic.
Within the Hurricanes.
Yes, because as I say to my friends, you got to keep moving to keep moving. So it was wonderful to see that spirit. It just is.
There was one of the scout units also was simulating an aircraft carrier.
Oh my God, the music that's coming by now. I'm sorry, I may break into some Stand By Me. I'm sorry.
And there was another unit that North Haven has its own miniature version of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Yes.
We're all standing by them. I think.
Oh, yes. And this is our version of the royal wedding. This is wonderful.
I just saw a bunch of bubbles float by.
I love it. I love it. That was so much fun. You're right. We do have more coming.
It's way, way down.
Unbelievable.
As far as the eye can see, but there's a little bit of a gap in the crowd. And I've noticed, again, a lot of families. But one of the things that also struck me was there are fewer veterans. In fact, I'm just going to stand back for a moment.
Go ahead.
Because behind us are a lot of empty seats. And in years past, we've had those filled. There still may be a few more coming. There are a few on the stage. But as we mentioned earlier, 17 members of the American Legion post here passed away in the past year. So it becomes more and more of a memorial every year, and every one of these units, in one way or another, has a patriotic touch to it.
Well, it's a very hot day. I've got to say, it's really, really, I don't know how people are standing it that have sat here for the entire hour watching everything.
And we're standing near the North Haven High School Band. They perform after the parade. And we also have a couple of speeches up on the grandstand there. And there's also a wreath laying over by Town Hall.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to be covering that, obviously. We have already, we're going to be doing all of that. You're going to see it all here. As a matter of fact, it is being broadcast live on Facebook. And I just was looking at some pictures. It's like being here. It's amazing.
Well, I stopped in at the Knights of Columbus Hall, which is next to our NHTV production truck, and they were watching it on television, you know, in air conditioning comfort with liquid refreshment.
That's what I need now. I'm stopping in, too.
Here's the parade.
Thanks, Ken and Teal, and it was great seeing the Hurricanes. You know, the Hurricanes were founded way back in 1932 as the John Collins American Legion Post Fife and Drum Corps out of Seymour, Connecticut. And interesting to note that they changed their name to the Connecticut Hurricanes in 1956 to reflect the floods of 1955 that were caused by Hurricane Connie, and then right after Hurricane Connie, Hurricane Diane. So that's how the Connecticut Hurricanes got their name. Interesting story. Great day here today, as Ken and Teal alluded to. Beautiful weather and quite a turnout. And we'll be going back to Ken and Teal some more, so there's more Ken and Teal on the way, but still more a parade on the way as well. We're about to see Nelcon with that giant towing apparatus. This is yet another great fife and drum corps.
Other fine marching band.
Next is the Nelcon truck, of course. There is Nelcon. Locally owned company, the Khan family. Farouk Khan, his wife, son Sal, of course. And they have a huge fleet of all different sizes and shapes of towing apparatus. And also, of course, is the North Haven Public Works Department. as the parade wraps up here, we're going to go back to Ken Bennett and Till Caliendo in just a bit to talk a little bit more about what we've seen today. Really a terrific turnout for today's parade. A great participation, some 65 participants, some great fife and drum corps and marching bands, and of course youth athletic leagues, and classic cars, classic police cars, classic fire engines, and of course the latest apparatus that the North Haven Police and Fire Departments have. But of course, I think one of the highlights, obviously, was the Connecticut Hurricanes. Just really, really riveting performance. And they have won numerous awards around the area of their performances. Of course, earlier on today, we saw the dedication of the Blue Star Memorial on the North Haven Green that was spearheaded by the American Legion and by the North Haven Daytime Gardeners. Let's head out now to Ken Bennett on the parade route.
It's pretty much at an end. We have some public works vehicles that come up, including the sanitation guys on the side. United we stand, help keep North Haven clean, but at the same time help keep North Haven always keeping the veterans and those who made that supreme sacrifice in mind. So the parade's been a wonderful experience here in person, as well as I hope on the live broadcast on cable, as well as on the live Facebook page, and it'll be repeated during the week. So a lot of people who are at a parade or another event like to go home and watch it and make sure they saw everything, and you will see everything pretty much on those telecasts. We're waiting now for the last of the units there to go out of sight and clear the way for the grandstand, because that's what the trucks are blocking right now. And then there'll be several speeches. They're usually relatively brief, but often very, very poignant. And there's also going to be the North Haven High School Band, which is a terrific unit. Their band director is in long sleeves with suspenders, and they're all in their uniforms, the maroon shirts, the black slacks, and very shiny instruments. And they're in front of the American Legion Hall, and the veterans always appreciate that. Do we have time? Would you come over? Come on. This is the North Haven High School band leader. Now, for those who don't know you.
Yes, Ken Tedeschi.
And what do you do to make these, not to make them, but to get this band ready for this event every year?
Well, for about a month, we just practice this music and go outside and march, and that's basically it.
What will you be playing?
Let's see, National Anthem, Armed Forces Salute, God Bless America, and Taps.
And what's the effect on these students when they rehearse those songs?
Well, I think it encourages them to think about what Memorial Day is all about and not about themselves, and to give back to the town.
Great. Well, have a successful concert. It always is. Thank you for stopping by. Well, any moment now we will begin. That's when the grandstand officials, looks like they are giving the signals and calling some people to the stage. And the crowd isn't leaving. A lot of people who are aware of it stay, not only for the speeches, but the music is fantastic. It's a wonderful concert. The band just stood up, and as you heard, they're going to be doing a number of patriotic themes.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we stand in silence today with bowed heads to pay our respects to our departed comrades. Help us to remember with reverence the valor and devotion of those who served, and those who served and gave the ultimate sacrifice so we can enjoy the freedom we have today. Some consecrate our country's soil, some sleep beyond the seas, and others rest in places that are unknown to us. Teach us to honor them by ever cherishing the ideals for which they fought and died. Keep us steadfast in the cause of human rights and liberties, of law and order, and true Americanism. May your merciful blessing rest upon those they left behind. Keep us forever firm in righteousness, humble of heart, and unselfish in purpose. Amen.
Thank you. Stay around for the...
Cover.
At this time, ask the North Haven High School Band to play the Star Spangled Banner. Thank you very much. I'd like, before we continue the program, I would like First Selectman Michael Frieda, Len Fasano, and Dave Yacarino to come up here. We have a special presentation.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Today on Memorial Day, as we pause and think back and reflect about all those who gave their lives to allow us to live in the life, liberty, and freedoms that we do today, we're also here to honor a man that has dedicated his whole life to the town of North Haven. So on behalf of State Senator Len Fasano, State Representative Dave Yacarino, and the entire town of North Haven, I would like to spend about 2.5 minutes reading something to you to honor this great man. The town of North Haven is proud to pay tribute to North Haven resident Charles Morrissey as he's recognized for both his unwavering history of service to our town, his country, and his dedication to our school children as an educator. After attending Notre Dame High School, Charlie graduated from Providence College with a BA in economics. Influenced by his mother Ann's career in teaching, Charlie also found his calling as a public school teacher. After already completing a 4-year ROTC program at Providence College, it was while Charlie was teaching general science and ancient history at Fairhaven Junior High that he put his educational career on hold and joined the U.S. Army as a commissioned officer in 1964. After Charlie was discharged from active duty as first lieutenant in 1967, he joined the United States Army Active Reserves and served as a railroad yard master at the 729th Transportation Battalion. Charlie achieved the rank of captain and was active until 1976. While a reservist, Charlie went back to the classroom as a 4th grade teacher in New Haven. A short time later, in 1968, Charlie began his tenure at Clintonville School in North Haven, teaching 5th and 6th grades until retiring in 2001. And one of his students, State Representative Dave Yacarino, who's by his side here. He was a member of the military department, 2nd Company Governor's Foot Guard from 1995 until 2007 when he retired as a major. Charles has been commander of North Haven's American Legion, Post 76, for over 10 years. His dedication, respect, support for our veterans continue to be paramount in his daily life. Charlie has contributed countless hours to the Legion and their many programs. He has acted as co-organizer for countless 4 chaplain ceremonies, has been a long-standing co-chair for this Memorial Day parade, and also served on various committees, including the Post-Vietnam Memorial. As a patriot, as an educator, and as a fine, upstanding citizen, we recognize Charlie as a role model for both helping our young people and helping adults alike. He's a man to admire. He is very deserving of our appreciation and gratitude for his involvement and commitment to our town. So today, May 26, 2018, we here in North Haven do hereby proclaim today Charles Morrissey Day here in North Haven. And we offer Charlie and his family our sincerest appreciation for all his dedication to this great American Legion Hall, to our great veterans, and to our great town in North Haven. Let's give this man a round of applause.
Congratulations.
This is for you, my friend.
Thank you so much. Got it. I'd just like to say thank you. I really didn't expect this. I tried over the years to give all that I could to the town, to the kids, and to anyone else that I could help. I'm grateful and I'm very humbled. Thank you. Okay. At this point, I just take a minute to remind people why we're here. Today is called Memorial Day now. Years ago, it was called Decoration Day. It began after the Civil War when many families, not only in North Haven, but all other towns across our country, remembered those that fought. Union, Confederate, didn't matter. They fought for what they believed in. And they decorated the graves of the dead with flowers and flags. It moved forward over a period of years to be called Memorial Day in memory of those soldiers, sailors, Marines, Coast Guardmen, Air Force that died in the service of our country. I think today we just need to remember that we all go back to our families, many of us to barbecues and other family activities over the weekend. Somebody gave some, and some gave all. Thank you.
Tedeschi and the North Haven Band. And now, before we close, I'd like to thank the director, Victor De Palma, and his staff on the grounds and everything else. Always do a great job. And now I'd like to introduce Reverend Morrow for the benediction.
Let us pray. Most holy God, we are humbled by the dedication, the honor, and the service we remember and celebrate today. May this celebration inspire us in our own service, in our own honor and dedication. We recognize and celebrate sacrifices made willingly with scarce thought for personal safety or security, but rather a concern for the safety of our community and of our nation. We lift up all of those who are actively serving in our armed services and among emergency services in our country and around the world. And we offer prayers particularly for those who paid the ultimate sacrifice and gave their lives in their service to our country. They are not simply names on monuments. They are all people who have a place in our community. We live among those who know exactly where that place was and will always be. We ask your loving comfort for parents and families, for spouses and children, for all who have experienced the loss of loved ones, and particularly for those whose loved ones go and face danger on our behalf. For soldiers serving throughout the world, and for, as we know this month, emergency responders serving here in our town. We pray that you will extend your loving comfort and care that has been so steadfastly and watchfully with those whose loss we mourn, upon all of us as well, as we celebrate the community and the life together that they have enabled for us. Amen.
And this brings the end of our parade. I would like the color guard to post the colors over at the monument. And we want to thank everybody who participated, who was involved, or just watched and enjoyed this patriotic event for the 72nd year. Thank you.
Wreath laying, which is sort of out of sight from where we are, brings to a close a very poignant after parade moments between the music and the speech and what the chaplain and the minister had to say.
You know, in light of the dissension nationally.
Just a moment. Taps.
Okay. particular parade and the speeches afterward seemed just so much more poignant in light of what dissension we have nationally, because we have Republicans and Democrats coming together here, all ethnicities. It's a wonderful community to be part of.
Well, the conclusion with taps really is one of the greatest reminders of what this is all about. And it was a high school soloist did the first taps, and then I'm not sure how it picked up, but there was an echo taps following, which is a great tradition. So the 72nd North Haven Memorial.
I hate to say it, I'm older than the parade, which is scary.
Well, so am I, but that's okay. We're trying to be young.
We're still walking.
Young at heart and spirit. And I also want to say this was a great day to be coming your way on NHTV cable live and on the NHTV Facebook page live, as I mentioned earlier. My mom's watching. I really had to be careful
Your mother
here
is
today.
Fabulous.
But we hope to see you next year and in the intervening days and all of that. May we remember everything that we remembered today for the rest of the year and beyond.
Throughout the year, and have a wonderful rest of your holiday weekend.
See you next year on NHTV.